News Radio 700 WLW.
Swifty alerts.
Oh, boy.
So, Rocky, we were talking about this going into the break, and if you just joined us, you hear a lot about when Taylor Swift releases an album, it's okay, this is the Red album or whatever, and it's the Taylor version. And she's basically re-recording her music and getting all the money for it.
Right. So because her and countless other artists have complained about how they don't own their music. It's their stuff. They created it, but they don't own the rights to it, and certainly can't make the kind of money off it that the record companies do. So it seems to be a brilliant move on her part. A lot of work to go re-record an album and make it sound pretty much the same, but seems to be what she's done. It seems to be working.
To explain exactly what's going on here, and hey, is this the wave of the future? Are artists going to just start going back, hey, wait a minute, I'm not getting all the money out of that I could be?
Well, see, Gunmetal Gray, we're thinking about doing that as well. Yeah.
That's some, but that'd be big, man. You kidding me?
Get the Gray back together?
When we want to talk about this kind of stuff, we go to our expert. He is the patent professor. He is an adjunct professor of patent law at Nova Southeastern Law School in Florida. He is our good friend John Rizvi. So, John, is what Taylor Swift doing, is it unprecedented, or is she just copying stuff that has happened along the way?
Well, no, I mean, the amount of influence and negotiating power that she has is unlike anything any other artist has had. So, in that sense, it's unprecedented. It's a brilliant move on her part, and the law is 100% on her side. As the artist, when she was 15, she sold rights to the master recordings, and that was the actual recordings at that time. But the copyrights, there's two different types of copyrights. One is who owns the master recording, and she sold those rights. But then the underlying music and lyrics she always owned, like that was not given away. Now, under a contract, she was restricted from re-recording for 3 years. So she did wait the 3 years, and now it's all fair game. I mean, the best analogy I can think of, and teaching law students, I always try to simplify things. I think of it as her owning the recipe, and she always owns the recipe to the cake. And what she did was she sold the cake, and that's fine. She's restricted, don't make any more cakes using this recipe for 3 years. But after that, it's fair game, and that's what she's doing now, and clearly cashing in incredibly well, because what happens when she has these new versions, which she's aptly named Taylor's versions, is those are the ones in demand, and it suppresses the value of the older digital masterworks, and she's just breaking records left and right with this re-recording work. And is it going to be something that other artists are going to follow suit with? And that was your question. Absolutely. But unfortunately, I think what's also going to happen is the 3 years, 2 to 3 years was the typical restriction period that the record labels would use with an artist. I think we're going to see that increase drastically to, who knows, 15, 20, 30 years. Wow. So now it would be like, all right, you own the recipe, but you can't make another cake for 20 years. And you sold us the one cake you have.
Now, John, she's the first person I've heard of doing this. Is she, in fact, the first musician to pull a ploy like this?
Yeah, I think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just getting. I've never heard of it being done before. I certainly, if I had to put money on it, this is not going to be the last, because it's certainly showing other musicians that there's going to be a way for them to extract value out of by producing the re-recordings. And you say it's a lot of work. Yes, it is a lot of work. But the original master sold for $420 million. So there's also, a lot of work is all relative, right? There's a lot of money at stake as well.
So real quick, so she chose back in the day to sell this, correct? I assume because it was worth a lot of money.
Yeah, well, and that's where she has a lot of support from Swifties and her fans and everyone else. I mean, she was 15 years old when she sold rights to this music, and then was never given an opportunity to purchase it back. So she sold it to Scooter Braun, who then sold it to another company.
That's him, yeah.
And she was, I think, Big Machine Records, and she was never given an opportunity to buy back her work. And this was her, I think, brilliant move to say, you know what, it's the original lyrics and music belong to me. I'm just going to re-record it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
John Rizvi is our guest, and John, I don't know if you know anything about it, but it seems to me that happened to Paul McCartney with a lot of the Beatles music back in the day, when Michael Jackson bought it out from under him. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, no, I can't. I was not aware of that happening in the past.
There was some kind of skirmish. I just remember that between the two of them, but nonetheless. So, are we going to see more and more of this happening, or is it going to be the way you said, and they're just going to, the record company's going to be like, okay, you can re-record it, but you're going to be 60 years old.
And exactly, and waiting until their voice is not what it was. Correct. And when no one's going to want the re-recorded version. Remember, those are existing contracts. Most of them are 2 to 3 years. So I think what we might see some of, and this is unusual, is artists actually selling, not going forward with the re-recording, but even though they're free to re-record it, maybe voluntarily giving up that right for money. So, in other words, hey, record label, I'm thinking of re-recording. If you pay me X, I will enter into another agreement and give you another 10 years or something. So that may be a way for the artist to make money off of this without, as you said, doing a whole bunch of extra work. So they don't even have to go and re-record it, but the record label might decide, you know what, if this artist does re-record it, it's going to destroy the value of the original master copies. So let us just pay this artist something to suppress a re-recording for another 5 years, 10 years, or whatever they think is reasonable.
All right. Well, Taylor does it again. I mean, can we just all agree on that?
Head of the game.
John Rizvi, we really appreciate it. People want to find out more. Where can they go? What can they do?
Yeah, so the Patent Professor is our handle on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, pretty much anywhere. Our website is thepatentprofessor.com, and I have a blog where I talk about these issues pretty much every day. You'll see a new article come out.
All right. With that, John, we'll let you go. Thanks so much, buddy. Always a pleasure.
Same here. Thank you.